Thanks. Here's a lightly paraphrased version of your video script. I've preserved your tone, flow, and structure, only shifting sentence structures or phrasing slightly where appropriate. In the realm of finance, we often quickly move past the tragedies of history. But by diving into their roots and consequences, we uncover valuable lessons. In a world filled with ever-evolving rules, products, and services, history stands as the one reliable guide through uncertainty. So, let's take a 5-minute historical journey on today's Plain Bagel. The year is 1918. After 4 long years of global conflict, the First World War has finally ended. America, having emerged victorious, is now entering an era of economic boom and cultural transformation, the Roaring Twenties. Things get off to a strong start. The wartime economy gets a boost as soldiers return home, delayed projects resume, and more women are joining the workforce, meaning more people have money to spend, and businesses want in on that consumer spending. In 1920, we see the debut of the first radio advertisement, and it's proving effective. New inventions like vacuum cleaners and electric washing machines are becoming must-have items. And with optimism in the air, banks are lending freely, allowing even more people to purchase the latest gadgets. Before long, everyone's got a car, specifically Henry Ford's Model T, and with it, daily life becomes much more convenient. Now, you can do the Charleston across town just to grab your evening smoke. All this newfound prosperity is making companies quite wealthy, and average Americans are doing well too. In fact, people are starting to consider what to do with their extra cash. Buy another washer, number a second car. Don't need one. But what about investing? That's the ticket. After all, why just be rich when you could be richer? And so, the stock market quickly becomes a national pastime. With a surge of buyers, investors are making easy money. Suddenly, everyone believes they're the next Warren Buffett of the 1920s. And I mean everyone. Cooks, shoe shiners, cab drivers. You name it. They're all trading like Wall Street moguls, pouring their life savings into the hot stocks of the day. The money's flowing so freely that people start taking out loans to invest even more. Banks, of course, are happily collecting the interest. In fact, those same banks want in on the action too. And before long, they begin dipping into customer deposits to buy stocks themselves. But because the market looks strong, no one's really raising alarms. Financially speaking, things are looking great in America. As flapper culture rises, prohibition takes hold, and jazz fills the airwaves, people are enjoying some serious gains in the markets. By 1929, America's overall wealth has doubled. Investments have surged by 218% since 1922. In fact, stock prices are rising so quickly that companies can't even keep up or justify their valuations. Production is beginning to slow. Henry Ford's not churning out as many Model Ts, and consumers aren't buying at the same pace. It appears companies may have overestimated their growth, and now wages are declining. The easy tax money? Well, that's drying up too. Meanwhile, interest rates are on the rise, but curiously, the stock market is still soaring. That seems off. Even though the economy is faltering beneath the surface, investors are largely brushing it off and buying like nothing's wrong. Sure, we see a few bumps and warning signs, but overall, optimism reigns, and the gambling continues. Over time, however, a growing voice of concern begins to swell, and investor unease starts to grow. That brings us to October 24th, 1929, Black Thursday, widely considered the beginning of the Great Depression. Investors have been seriously spooked, with dire headlines everywhere. When the markets open, panic sets in, and people begin to sell. Hard. In fact, 12.9 million shares are traded that day, breaking all records. Stocks fall 11% right from the opening bell. Selling is so frantic that ticker systems can't keep up, meaning people don't even know what prices they're selling at. The deluge of selling drags the market down sharply, wiping out huge swaths of American wealth. And things are about to get worse. While markets manage to recover later that day, come Black Tuesday, full-scale panic erupts. The Dow Jones plummets 12%, and that trading record we just set. We break it again, The market loses $40 billion in a single day. Some shares are now worth nothing. Life savings are obliterated. And Americans who borrowed to invest, completely devastated. And so, we enter the Great Depression, the most severe economic downturn in modern industrial history. The Dow continues falling for 3 more years, eventually losing 90% of its value from its 1929 peak. Businesses collapse, jobs vanish, and it's not just the investors who suffer. Remember those banks that dipped into customer funds? Much of that money is gone too. People are left with just 10 cents for every dollar they had saved. Banks across the country fail. Unemployment skyrockets to 24.9%, the highest in U.S. history. Breadlines, soup kitchens, and homelessness become part of everyday life. Whether you invested, borrowed to buy stocks, or just kept your money in a bank, you felt the sting of the Depression. The hardship would drag on through the 1930s, with government intervention under Franklin D. Roosevelt offering only limited relief. In fact, it wasn't until the ominous rise of Nazi Germany that the crisis truly ended. You see, the Depression wasn't isolated to America. With growing globalization, its effects rippled around the globe. In Germany, economic despair helped fuel Adolf Hitler's rise to power, rallying the suffering masses, leading ultimately to the formation of the Nazi Party and the outbreak of World War II in 1939. Ironically, the war created jobs in the U.S., bringing an end to one crisis by beginning another. Experts still debate why the Great Depression was so devastating, but the painful lessons are clear. It revealed the immense influence of both greed and fear in financial markets, especially when left unchecked. It also laid bare the dangers of rampant speculation and debt. In the aftermath, reforms were passed to protect Americans from similar catastrophes. Under FDR, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, and the Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, were created to safeguard deposits and regulate markets, institutions that still exist today. Few remain who personally remember the Depression's hardship, but it would be a mistake to ignore the warnings it offered. Because greed, fear, and reckless speculation, they're far from gone. Hey guys, thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be notified of future uploads. We're also on social media, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can visit us at www.ptrn.com/theplainbagel. Thanks again.